Xi Jinping and Narendra Modi's meeting in Tianjin on August 31, 2025, marked one of the most consequential diplomatic resets between China and India in recent years. Taking place on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit, the dialogue carried heavy symbolic and strategic weight, not only because it was Modi's first trip to China in 7 years but also because it unfolded against the backdrop of Donald Trump's escalating tariffs on Indian exports. Both leaders recognized that the global environment is increasingly unstable, with Xi describing the world as chaotic and fluid, a once-in-a-century transformation demanding new partnerships and fresh calculations. Against this backdrop, Xi and Modi spoke not of rivalry but of friendship, unity, and cooperation. Xi drew on the well-known metaphor of China as the dragon and India as the elephant, calling for both civilizations to dance together rather than clash. Modi echoed this sentiment, emphasizing that India and China are partners in development, not adversaries locked in zero-sum competition. The message was clear: in an era of turbulence and coercive economic policies, the two Asian giants would chart their own path of strategic autonomy. Trump's tariffs formed the unspoken yet unavoidable backdrop to these talks. The United States had imposed first 25% and then 50% tariffs on Indian exports, citing India's continued purchase of Russian oil and its reluctance to align fully with Washington's geopolitical agenda. These punitive measures rattled India's economy, strained ties with Washington, and sparked concerns in New Delhi about overdependence on a fickle partner. China, also under U.S. pressure on multiple trade fronts, offered both sympathy and opportunity. For Xi, India's growing discomfort with U.S. policy represented a chance to draw Modi closer, reducing American leverage in Asia and bolstering the multipolar vision championed through platforms like SCO and BRICS. For Modi, building a bridge with Beijing offered a way to relieve economic strain, diversify partnerships, and reaffirm India's long-standing commitment to an independent foreign policy. The Tianjin meeting produced several tangible signals of rapprochement. Both leaders reaffirmed their commitment to peace along the Himalayan border, where relations have been fraught since the 2020 clashes. Modi praised the improved atmosphere and underlined the importance of ensuring border disputes do not overshadow the broader relationship. Both sides also announced measures to restore cultural and economic connectivity, including the resumption of direct flights, the reopening of pilgrimage routes to Kailash Mansarovar, and the easing of visa restrictions for tourism and business. China indicated it would lift certain export curbs, particularly on rare earths and other critical inputs, a move seen as both economic olive branch and strategic gesture. Trade was another central theme, with Xi and Modi agreeing to work toward reducing India's trade deficit, expanding cross-border commerce, and jointly confronting challenges in the global trading system. Modi extended an invitation for Xi to attend the 2026 BRICS summit in India, reinforcing both countries' commitment to non-Western multilateral platforms. The implications of these moves are vast. Modi's visit itself was symbolic of a thaw, a notable shift after years of frosty exchanges and limited dialogue. The United States, by tightening tariffs, may have inadvertently accelerated India's willingness to engage Beijing more constructively. By drawing closer to China, India signals to Washington that its autonomy is not negotiable, that punitive measures will not coerce it into alignment but rather push it toward alternative partnerships. For Beijing, the optics of standing beside Modi project an image of leadership in Asia and resilience in the face of Western pressure. Together, Xi and Modi presented a narrative of multipolarity, one in which Asian powers make independent decisions and cooperate on their own terms rather than within frameworks dominated by the West. Yet underlying tensions remain. Mutual mistrust lingers, border disputes remain unresolved, and both countries continue to vie for influence across Asia and beyond. Analysts caution that while the optics of warmth are important, real trust will take time to build. The border issue in particular remains a potential flashpoint, and economic competition cannot be wished away by declarations of partnership. Still, the choice to meet, the symbolism of friendship, and the concrete steps toward reconnection suggest that Beijing and New Delhi are at least willing to experiment with cooperation. This diplomatic pivot must also be understood within the wider context of the 2025 U.S. India crisis. The tariffs struck at the heart of India's trade flows, disrupted export-oriented industries, and cast doubt on Washington's reliability as a long-term partner. Political voices in both India and the U.S. criticized Trump's strategy as short-sighted, with economists warning it would drive New Delhi closer to Beijing and Moscow. She sees this opportunity, presenting China not as a rival but as a neighbor and partner ready to work alongside India to stabilize an otherwise chaotic world. Modi, facing mounting economic pressure at home and criticism for allowing relations with Washington to deteriorate, embraced this pragmatic reset, highlighting India's tradition of non-alignment and strategic independence. Ultimately, the Tianjin encounter demonstrated that Asia's two giants are not condemned to perpetual rivalry. Both leaders recognize the reality of interdependence in trade, energy, and regional stability. Their talks sent a clear signal to Washington: punitive economic measures may achieve the opposite of their intended effect. Rather than isolating India, they risk driving it closer to China, thereby accelerating the emergence of a multipolar world order. Whether this friendship evolves into a durable partnership remains to be seen, but the symbolism of Xi and Modi standing together in a time of global turbulence carries undeniable weight. It highlights a new stage in Asian diplomacy, one where cooperation, however fragile, may be the most pragmatic response to chaos.